What's going on, everyone? James Hancock here. I might sound a little quieter than usual. I'm actually down in North Carolina visiting my family at the beach, and everyone has gone to bed after gorging on the Olympics for the last couple of hours. But I recorded this video yesterday before skipping town, so I figured why not just go ahead and do my commentary. So, at any rate, here we are in Blighttown. Blighttown, as I've mentioned before, is one of the least popular parts of the game. It's challenging, but it's absolutely essential. There's some great gear, some great mats, lots of stuff to explore, and there's a boss that you have to absolutely kill before you can progress. The things to keep aware of, you got your big bugs, which have frontal cone attacks with fire, and they're not that hard to deal with. You've got the big giant wasps that periodically fly down towards you, which are just miserable because they poison you and they never stop. You kill them and then immediately some more respawn. And they just, if you're in certain parts of Blighttown, they just always will keep coming after you. So that's just the reality. You've got the water, which poisons you. It's almost kind of worth it just to get poisoned and do what you want to do in short doses. And just recognize that periodically you have to heal because of it. Because constantly trying to avoid the poison or staying out of it. I mean, you can put on the rusted iron ring and move faster through the water, but in the end, you're going to get poisoned, and there's just no getting around it. Up there, the area that I was just looking at, is the second way down into this area. When I come back here to talk to Siegmeyer to continue his quest, I will come down the long way, the hard way, and show how to get down there. It's awful, but it's definitely worth exploring just for a great challenge because it's totally different from anything else in the game. These little slug things are absolutely worth farming. They drop large titanite shards. They even drop green titanite shards sometimes. I think maybe they can drop it just about any kind. I would have to check to see what their full range of options are for what they can drop. But you can basically never go wrong fighting as many of them as you like, at least in the early parts of the game, because the mats they drop will help you jack up your gear. Here is my first green titanite shard, which is what I will use to take my dagger. Once my dagger's +5, to go from +5 to +1 magic, I will use that green titanite shard. So I want probably 12 or 15 of those things at a minimum, because I'm probably going to upgrade 2 weapons. This is a quick kind of side quest. You don't have to do this, but I'm just running up here because I'm here to show you. It is how you get to the Great Hollow, and the Great Hollow is probably the best source of mats in the game. It's also incredibly frustrating and will kill you to fall damage many times, and probably even to curse, but it is an essential place for farming mats. So I'm running down here to get some of my spells back and to get rid of my poison and heal, because it takes only 30 seconds to get down here and back. There's a bond for the top. This is the definition of a vertically integrated zone. It's just all the way down to the bottom until you find another zone. But along the way, there's 7 or 8 or maybe 9 crystal lizards you can kill, and so I eventually will be doing a full comprehensive guide as to where you find all those crystal lizards, because if you're planning on maxing out your gear, the Great Hollow will be on your to-do list. At any rate, we are not here to do the Great Hollow today. We're here to do Blighttown, and we're going to head on back and keep farming stuff. I'm trying to think of just things to keep in mind while you're down here. And I guess the key is to do it, like I said, do it in small chunks, like do it in bite-sized chunks. You can try to run through the whole place and then try to kill the boss, but there's no real reason to subject yourself to that misery, because there is a bonfire in the middle of the map. So you can do a wing, come back and heal. Do another wing, come back and heal. I'm farming all these guys because I'm secretly hoping that some more mats will drop. But yeah, my first time down here was just so overwhelming because it's just basically a big wide open area and I didn't quite know where to go. Now, right here where I am now is where the Onion Knight will be much later in the game. After you've been through Sen's Fortress, after you've been through Anorlondo, then eventually he will end up here, and you talk to him, you give him some stuff, and that will unlock the appearance of his daughter at the, I think it's called like the Duke's Library, or I can't remember what the name of that place is called. This little area, you can, if you haven't been poisoned, you've got plenty of land to stand on, but I'm just rolling it. It's too much of a hassle trying to keep the poison off of me, so it's kind of like a sexually transmitted disease that you just decided to to live with. And I don't, maybe that's the wrong analogy, but I feel like there are some times where people just seem to be very casual about things like HPV. It's like it's totally normal. All right, now this is weird. I've never seen this happen before, where someone's just immune to my magic. I think it's just a glitch, but for whatever reason, the spells just aren't hitting him. So I just have to take him out with my badass knife. But yeah, I'm kind of getting my butt kicked. But eventually he goes down, and it was just a momentary glitch. Those purple moss clumps, you can farm as many as you like back in the Darkroot Basin. You can also buy them from the vendor that I showed in the shortcut between the depths and the Firelink Shrine. So yeah, those should never be an issue. The real issue are the moss clumps that help get rid of toxins. If you are a sorcerer and you have Remedy, they're not remotely as important. I mean, they're kind of just icing on the cake because you can just cure your toxins. But if you're playing like a melee character who's just putting all your points into strength and don't feel like putting points into anything else, you might need to do a little bit of farming, because the really, really good moss clumps that get rid of the toxin, I think they cost like 6,000 souls or something ridiculous. And there's like 7 or 8 pieces of shit scattered throughout the zone who just will shoot needles at you constantly. And you'll see, after I kill the boss and work my way back up, I go through the hardest part, and because you have to fight 4 or 5 of those bastards in rapid succession. And once you have toxin on you, your health just drops like a stone. I mean, poison's a manageable thing you can kind of live with. But maybe the better analogy is kind of like living with cancer. How it's like, it's not fun, and it's painful, and it's inconvenient, but it's not an acute crisis. But the toxin is like the equivalent of like slashing open your carotid artery and you're bleeding to death, and if you don't heal in seconds or find a way to get rid of it in seconds, that is the end of the story of you. Nice, got another large Titanite shard. I don't actually know if I even need any of these large Titanite shards, because none of the weapons, I'm not going to take my weapons up the normal upgrade path, but you never know. Maybe some of my shields I want to use for the upgrade. What else on this side? I'm eventually going to get to these guys with these giant boulders, and they have a variety of different forms of attack, and they can throw them at you, or they can roll them toward you, or they can just slam them down on you. They're actually pretty cool and pretty fun to fight. They're the same race as the giant dudes with the clubs up above, but because it's dark, you can't really see them. And you're about to see, I'm going to probably, actually no, it's not quite there yet. Hidden NPCs. This area has one of the most important pyromancy NPCs in the game, but the only way you can unlock that pyromancy NPC is if you've totally maxed out the power of your glove prior to getting here. So the pyromancy teacher that we saved in the depths, who's back in the Firelink Shrine, if you're planning on working, here I just found a bunch of great pyromancy gear and a spell right there. If you're planning on going that route, you want to go ahead and max out your pyromancy before coming down here, because the teacher has just insane spells. But she's not going to go anywhere. And at the end of the game, a lot of people, if they're planning on playing New Game Plus, they like to run through the whole game and kill all the NPCs and just grab all the drops, which is another way to get some of their gear and spells. I've always felt a little weird doing that. In Dark Souls 3, I've been doing it where I kill off all the NPCs. But I don't know. I don't seem to get any enjoyment out of it, even though I recognize that there is some gain to be had. That's me just being an idiot and letting him throw a giant. I knew the boulder and he was there, and I just let him hit me in the face. I guess I thought he was going to roll toward me. I was going to dodge him. Problem is, he's got a buddy. So dodging 2 of these guys at once can get a little hairy, because if they have their rock in front of them, it will block your attacks. You can't shoot them with the spell. There, I took the dodge left. That's the wrong way to go, because I couldn't go left, so he just rolled right through me. Just trying to pick up this gear, but probably should just go ahead and kill these guys. Yeah, the rolling attack is super easy to dodge. You just gotta not be dumb or miss like I just did. Yeah, like I said, the rocks do block magic spells, which can make it a little more difficult, but I enjoy the challenge of these guys. They look cool, and that's part of the fun of this game. Like, I don't like fighting things that are basically piles of slime, or I don't like fighting things that are just boring game design, but these guys, for whatever reason, they interest me. And also, I love the fact that you can see them hundreds of yards away, just standing there, holding the rocks over their heads, just waiting to fuck you up. There's no gear up on that mountain, but that is the entrance to, I think her name is Quelaag, the big boss down here that we're going to fight here in a bit. So when I go after her, I'm just going to run straight up there past all the trash. So before I engage with her, though, is I want to pick up all the remaining pieces of gear. This is right here is where the pyromancy teacher will be if you have maxed out your glove with the first instructor. So just remember that spot. There's Shiva still hanging out over there because I haven't left that covenant yet, but I'm not buying any Shiva's gear, so our association is going to soon be coming to an end. I think I'm just grabbing one more item from over here before heading back to the bonfire. Now, in a fit of bravery that I can't fully understand, I briefly decided what I was going to try and do is take the reverse route back up the opposite way of the long, hard entrance into Blighttown, because the Wanderer set is up there. The Wanderer is just a classic piece of Dark Souls gear. It looks fucking cool as shit. It's in all 3 of the Dark Souls games. It's a fan favorite. I'm having trouble resetting this bonfire here, so I'm just running up, seeing if there's any bosses on or ads on me. If something's chasing you and you cannot use it, or if you've been invaded and there's somebody who's trying to find you, then you can't use the bonfire. But I'm in the mood just to go ahead and heal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to log out and back in, use the bonfire, and then go show you the direction you go to find the Wanderer set. But I will not be retrieving it until much later. So I'm just fast forwarding through here, going through the logos. For some reason on the Xbox One, it's super slow and painful to get through the login screen. Anyway, I'm fully refreshed now. I'm still have my humanity, and I'm going to need my humanity in order to summon the Man-Eater Mildred for the boss fight. So I got to be careful not to lose my humanity doing something stupid like running over here, because the big thing about this path upwards, there's at least 1, possibly 2 of the snipers who shoot the toxic darts. I mean, I'm already poisoned, that's not a big deal. And I can wreck these insects and creatures all day. But if I have somebody also shooting darts at me from a distance, it makes it dramatically more difficult. So I'm just going to wreck a few of these guys. I mean, my soul arrows now, because of my high intelligence, are starting to hit like a truck, and there's one-shotting everything. So it's definitely making life easy that I can use my fastest spells and to kill everything in one hit. Alright, but now up this path up here, there's not a whole lot of twists and turns, so you can't really get lost. But like I said, there is a sniper with a blowgun shooting those stupid darts. And I think I get hit any second now. Because he's right up above me. Yep, toxic, someone shot me. Yep, I just got hit by another needle. So my health, you can see now, it's dropping like a stone. And I'm getting hit by fire. And at this point I realize, you know what? There's a good chance I could die. And it's just to show you a Wanderer set that I'm not even aware. A Wanderer set that I can easily get later on when I do the full run-through on that side. So I decided just to bail and run back to the bonfire, because now it is time to go take on one of my all-time favorite bosses in any video game ever created. She's a cool-looking boss, she's fun to fight, but she has a cinematic entry or intro that is kind of erotic and dramatic all at once, and I think she definitely belongs in the top 10 coolest Dark Sun bosses. Not necessarily the top 10 most challenging. That's just obvious. I mean, she's definitely not the top 10 most challenging, because I don't think I've ever died to her. But she's definitely the top 10 coolest. So maybe at some point I'll do a Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3 top 10 boss fights, and Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3 top 10 coolest boss fights. But I gotta get my walkthroughs first finished, and then I can work on those little side projects. So yeah, you just run up here. There's a bunch of guys that throw those big rocks, but they're easy to get around. And now we're in Quelaag's domain. This is an interesting area because he's got, like, the geography is changing dramatically, and it ties into yet another covenant that we will be joining much later on in order to get access to a shortcut. Here I'm seeing Mildred as well as a player, so I'm going to try summoning the player first, which doesn't always work because they might be away from their game, or sometimes things just don't work out. In Dark Souls 3, pretty much everyone you summon... Actually, I shouldn't say that. I mean, I've had plenty of trouble summoning people in Dark Souls 3. NPCs, you will never have any trouble, but Man-Eater Mildred, she's a beast. She's got a... I don't know, her gear is not that good, but she can take a hit, and she can whack. And basically, as someone who just throws spells, I love having her around because she distracts the boss, and I can just stand back and nuke it. I have beaten the boss by myself before, and it's even then not that challenging. But this is a guide where I just want to play as as quickly and aggressively as humanly possible. So having her here will allow me just to progress and move on ahead. So entering the boss, and now I'm starting the cinematic. I just think this cinematic is beautiful. I don't really know the lore in this character, but I just love the fact that from the waist down, she is utterly, completely repulsive, repugnant, disgusting in every way, shape, or form. And then from the waist up, she's just this insanely beautiful girl with exotic weapons and gorgeous tits and long hair and everything. So yeah, this is Dark Souls at its strangest and most perverse, but you have to admit, from the waist up, she looks pretty incredible. So I don't want to have to fight you, baby, but that's what it's come down to. So yeah, Chaos Witch Quelaag. She's got a couple of attacks you got to watch out for. She jumps and vomits lava, leaving these pools that stay on the ground, and they will fuck you up, and they don't go away for a while. They eventually dissolve, but she will slowly but surely fill the room up with these things, so you kind of want to be careful about your placement of her. She also has a massive AoE attack. She'll kind of charge up and nuke everything that's within melee range, and that will kill you for half your health. It really messes you up badly. And then she also has a melee attack with her sword, which you have to watch out for. That'll also wreck you for about half your health. So yeah, if you are a melee person, you'll have to learn to dodge her sword attacks. But yeah, and pretty much every time I shoot a spell at her, it hits her hard enough that it kind of gets her attention. There's her sword. I got lucky. I didn't have to dodge that one or block it. All right, now you see the first pool's going away. So that gives you an idea how long the pools stick around. But notice how I've got all those pools clustered together. I didn't really do it on purpose, but it just kind of happened that way. It makes me look like a much more pro player than I actually am. But I'll take it. But yeah, she caught me with her sword, but I caught her with the spell at the same time. She's done. So she normally is a little bit more challenging than that, but because I spent so much time procrastinating about coming down here and delaying. Anyway, video's over. Shit, I didn't realize it was over. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back at you with my next part.